So today's training is on how to type up a lease agreement. So right now you should be able to see my screen that I'm working off of. So let's start with this. Number one, I have a copy of the lease checklist that we have for our office. This is the current lease checklist. Make sure if the office changes the checklist that you have a copy of it. We'll work on this one, for example. And the property that we're going to work off of, I'm in my win forms right now. If you already have a file, go find it. If you have to create one, that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and find the file that we created. Okay, let me just find it real quick. It's a rental property. There it is. So the lease agreement we're going to type up is for 4531 Cheviot. So right now I have this file from when I originally took the lease listing. So on this checklist, I already have the lease listing agreement and agency disclosure. Yet for the time being, I'm going to go work off of this. So if you look at this checklist over here, what do I need? I need a copy of the lease agreement. So that's the one document that we're going to go ahead and do right now. It's called a residential lease agreement. Right? This one, residential lease month-to-month rental agreement. Okay. So right now, let's fill this out for the time being. So we already have the landlord's information in the property, okay, or in the lease agreement and win forms. So landlord is correct. I'm going to double click this, which is today's date because that's a day being prepared. And let's see who the tenants are. So right now, what I know is we have, this is the tenant. This is the tenant for the property. The tenant's name, as you can see, is Nandu, P-A-N-G-E-L-A. Okay? So that, he's the only tenant, and he has his parents that are going to live with him, but I'll show you that in a second. So the landlord rents, the address is here. Okay, that's correct. It says number B, the premises are for the sole use in personal residence. Oops. But the following names. So Nandu is going to live there, but also so are his parents. And I already have his parents' application right here. So here's one of them. Let me see if I can copy and paste this by chance. That would be great if I could. Oh, I can't. Okay. I'm going to type their name. It's P-A-R-T-H-A-S-A-R-A-T-H-Y-T-A-N-G-L-A. Then I'm going to do his dad, I believe, or his mom. It's right here. There we go. So now I have here. I'm going to do D-E-V-I-K-A-R-A-N-I-T-A-N-G-L-A. Perfect. The next thing, is there any personal property included in there? There's no washer, dryer, fridge, so nothing. And then the term to begin is going to be July 15th, 2017. It's going to be a 12-month lease. It's going to end on July 14th, 2018. I'm going to go 12 months, and we always put 11:59 p.m., which is right before midnight. Tenant shall agree to pay. The rent is $3,795. Rent is payable on the 1st. Payment shall be so other, because the landlord is going to figure out how he wants the rent paid, but to be determined. You want to know in advance how the landlord wants the rent collected. Do they want to receive a check? Do they want a direct deposit? So if we don't know, it's okay to put other and to be determined, so we can go from there. Okay, then we have the information below. You also want to check this, money order or cashier check. So if the rent is late or delinquent, that means the rent shall then be paid by money order or cashier's check. Security deposit on this one is $37.95. You want to go ahead and check transferred and held by the owner of the premises. Everything else you leave blank. Today's date will go right there. Move-in costs or funds are payable by cashier's check. So we're going to do rent from July 15th until July 31st. The total rent, you can see, if $37.95, always prorated, okay? The rent is $37.95. You divide that always by 30 days. No matter how many days are in the month, rents are prorated 30 days. Then you want to go ahead and look at a calendar and see how many days you're going to be living there. So if they start on the 15th, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you multiply 126.50 per day times 17. So they have to pay $2,150.50 for the prorated rent. And the due date we're going to put is the 12th since they're moving in. And payable to the owner. So that's going to be Raheem Sonwala will make the rent payable, or the moving funds payable to. Okay. Then we have security deposit of $37.95, also due the 12th, payable to Raheem. Then we'll also do a key deposit, which we always do on average of $150. And then we'll also do that for the 12th, payable to Raheem as well on this one. So the total he'll pay is $6,095.50. Late charge is always 6% on our properties that we do. We check this as in yes for parking. Parking is always in garage or any legal area allowed. Is included. Storage, check A, and then is included. And then we put in garage or in the property for storage. And then utilities, tenant pays for all utilities except gardener. Seller's going to pay for the gardener, owner is. We'll go ahead and do and then down here, condition of the premises. Landlord deliver statement of memo within 3 days. Okay. And then what happens is that tenant shall complete and return the memo within 3 days of moving in, and also within 3 days of moving in. Okay. Or we can change it. Usually we give them 5 days. Sometimes I give them a little bit more time. So 5 days you can change it to, which is fine. Okay. And then maintenance on this specific property, landlord shall water and landlord shall maintain the garden. And I always put by way of a gardener. Okay. Same thing here. By way of a gardener. Okay. Perfect. Go on. And then for this one, there is no perfect. If applicable, there is no association or rules or condo development. So this is all left blank. So is this as well. This is all left blank. And then as far as keys, I've already talked to the owner, and there's going to be 2 front door keys given to the tenant. There's going to be 0 mailbox keys, it's not necessary. 0 common area because there's no HOA or pool key. There's going to be 2 remotes to the front door, and the property is going to be rekeyed. So it has been rekeyed. Okay. We'll do a key safe lockbox addendum. I'll show you why. Property was built in 1970, so it needs a lead-based paint disclosure. Okay. And everything else in here we can leave blank. Over here, tenant or landlord to give a 30-day notice to vacate. On vacating, tenant must have the property professionally cleaned. I'll put that always here. Tenant always put this information. Okay, tenant or landlord to give 30-day notice to vacate. Upon vacating, the tenant must have the property professionally cleaned. Always want to put that in there just in case. Then as you scroll down, everything else you can leave blank that's in the property. Okay. Always click finish. I'll obtain liability insurance, which is also renter's insurance that we can get as well. The tenant's information will go here. Nandu will be at 4531 Cheviot, which is the property. Cheviot Drive. And that will be Irvine, CA 2604. This will be the landlord, Rahim. Address will be provided later. We don't have his address right now. Lease rental mold addendum. We're going to attach this property as well. And other disclosures. Okay. Irvine, both landlord and tenant, including Teller, Williams, Realty, Irvine. Okay. So that page is empty, ready to go. Property is being managed by the owner, so we leave that part blank. So we'll leave that blank for the tenant to sign. Landlord will sign these two. And then the agent will go ahead and sign this. We already know this one is Michael Solis is this agent, so I can fill this out. Solve this. Okay. I don't have all of Michael's information, so we'll leave that blank for now. And this is an automatic disclosure attached to this property. So bedbug disclosure, July 10th. Everything else will be blank, you get signed. So that is the lease agreement. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to look at what's missing. So watch this. There are some disclosures that we have to include, okay? So the office requires lease agreement, disclosure, agency relationship. So we already have an agency relationship between us and the owner. We just need the disclosure agency between the tenant's agent, which is the selling firm to buyer. If you can see that it says selling firm to buyer, we need that one filled in, okay? So this will auto-populate right there. And we'll say tenant, and then we'll say Michael Solis can fill that one out, and the owners can sign that as well, okay? So 0196. Sure what this one is. This is the Keller Williams Irvine broker number. This one. 0196261151 is that number. We'll let Michael fill in his. I don't have it handy right now. And then if you go back to this document over here, it's lease agreement, agency disclosure, key safe lockbox addendum, which we have right here. Okay. Next one is lease rental mold ventilation. We have the one right here. Water heater smoke. And I'm just adding these right now so I can do them later. Okay. So water heater will pop up and smoke detector. Okay. Next one is water conserving fixture carbon monoxide. That's right here. Okay. Lead-based paint before 1978, which we already have right here because it's before 1978. Exempt seller disclosure, which is also known as an ESD. Okay. I'm going to pull that right here. And then hazard earthquake booklet receipt we need, addendums, everything else is pretty much basic. So what I'm going to do is just go through these as well. So lead-based paint, we want to make sure it's attached to the residential lease or month to month, dated today because we typed it today. Oops, okay. Today's date between landlord and tenant. So they just all have to sign this. So does the agents have to sign this. That's that one. Residential lease or month to month, we just did it. Key safe or lockbox addendum between landlord and the tenant down here. Okay, they're going to put their information. And then we always put this following term. This is so important. It says once the flow. once the 30-day notice is given by either party, then the property may be shown the landlord's broker during the times upon between landlord and tenant. What this says is once a 30-day notice is given by either party, then the property may be shown by the landlord's broker during the times agreed upon between landlord and tenant. The reason you have this is once the 30-day notice is given, we as a broker can show that property during the last 30 days of the tenant's occupancy. If you don't have the disclosure filled out, even if the landlord or tenant give a 30-day notice, the tenant doesn't have to show anybody the property. Sometimes some of the landlords want us to start renting it right away when notice is given. Okay, so that's a key safe lockbox addendum. Lease rental mold disclosure, check that box, and then dated today, so it's attached to the current lease agreement that we have, and then all we got to do is get it signed and dated by landlord and tenant. Then we have agency, we already did. Water and smoke is super simple. It's already this, you got to just sign and get it dated on both sides. And then you have the water conserving, plumbing, and carbon monoxide. This is also pretty simple. Got to get this signed, dated, and filled out. And then the exempt seller disclosure has got to get filled out by the owner of the property, and the tenant can go ahead and sign it. So we got to get the owner to fill this out. The landlord makes the following perfect, and then we're going to put this information. So this is how you prepare a lease agreement and some of the disclosures. So then what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save as PDF. Press that button right there, save as PDF. And I'm going to save all the ones that I want to go ahead and save. So I know I want the lead-based paint, residential lease agreement. I want the move-in, move-out. I want the key safe lockbox, lease rental mold. I need the agency for the tenant's agent and the tenant. Water smoke, water conserving, exempt seller. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll press next. And then I'll go ahead and save as a single PDF. One lease agreement. Or one PDF. And what I'll do is I'll save all of this in one file. Okay. And then what you want to go ahead and do is you want to go ahead and save this. Let me make sure, let me see if this owner has a file in Google Drive or not. Under rentals. I don't know, let me see. There it is, yep. So under Google Drive, under rentals, under landlords, under Cheviot, and then what I'll do is I will save everything under here, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll just rename it. So right click, press rename. Oops, right click, rename 4531 Cheviot. I'll put lease document unsigned. And that's it. And then what I'll do is I'll send a copy of this to the owner to review, and then we'll go ahead and send it to him for signature. And that's how you prepare everything.